I'm Margaret Lewin and welcome to Margaret Lewin Quilting. Today we're going to be making Take a Stand, and I'm really excited about this because I've had this ready to go for a while now and I'm finally getting a chance to make it. So I'm really excited about this. We're making the large one this time, and if you'd like to see how I'm making it, stick around and I'll show you how it's done. The first thing I've done is I've collected all of the notions that I need to make this. I need strapping. There is some hardware that I need. It's pretty simple hardware. It's just pieces. I'm going to set these aside so I don't lose them because they are very, very important and we need them later on. We need two different zippers. We need a 24-inch zipper with a single slide, and then we need a 40-inch zipper with a double slide at least. We also need some fold-over elastic that matches, and I'm really excited to see this on this project. I think it's going to be really pretty. And some mesh fabric. All right, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set aside everything that I do not need. So that includes my hardware. I don't need that right now. I do need my strapping because we start with strapping. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So I'm going to set those aside on my cutting table. I'm going to grab all my straps. I've labeled everything the way Annie suggests. She also includes in her pattern a page that you can photocopy and cut it all out. Now remember, patterns are for your private use only. Please don't share it with your friends. It takes a lot of time for a designer to design something, and we really want them to be able to continue to design. So make sure that you're buying their patterns, okay? So I'm going to grab my straps because those I know I need. And then you can see I've got a bunch of stuff labeled. I've got my zipper pulls. I've got my bias binding. Now, her pattern starts out with you doing the bias binding. I'm going to save that till the end. And I'm all right with that because I've made enough of Annie's patterns that I know little things that I like to do. Here's an end strap. I'm going to grab that because I know I'm doing straps. Here's a zipper tab, a pocket border, and a zipper binding. Now I know I don't need those things, so I'm going to set those aside along with my pocket A and B and my end A and B and the body of my bag. I'm going to set all of these aside, but I wanted you to see how beautiful the fabrics are. Look at how cute this is going to be when it's all put together. I'm really excited about it. The only other thing I did to be in preparation for making the bag is I did go around all of my edges. I stitched all of my quilted pieces 1/8 of a way from the edge. Now, I'm going to tell you, when I first started doing Annie's bags, I thought, oh, that's a waste. I'm not going to bother wasting my time doing that stitching. I'm going to tell you, it's important to do it. Annie doesn't suggest that we do anything unless it's important, okay? So I'm going to take these, I'm going to fold these up, and I'm going to set those completely aside because what we're working on is our straps. That's where we start. So according to Annie's directions, the first thing that we need to do is we need to prepare our straps. So what we're going to do is we're going to join two of the pieces. So for us, it is two long pieces and two shorter pieces. So I'm going to take these. I'm going to keep my little piece of paper right there so that I know what I'm working on. So what I have to do is I'm going to set that one aside because I don't need that one yet. I have to take my one short and my two extremely long pieces of strapping, and I need to sew these together. So how I'm going to sew them together is I'm going to sew right sides together. Let me pin it. So I'm going to stitch there, and then I'll add this one. So I'm going to do those 3 seams, or actually it's only 2 seams, isn't it? I'm going to do those 2 seams, And then according to Annie's directions, the next thing that we need to do is we need to press those seams open. So I'm going to go over, I'm going to stitch these two together, then I'm going to press my seams open, and then she gives us another hint. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when I get back I'll show you exactly what that hint was. I've got my great big huge long piece of strapping, and I want to show you what Annie's little suggestion was. Annie suggested that once you get done pressing your seams open, I'm trying to find my other seam and I'm not finding it. Oh, there it is. She suggests that you go back and you top stitch it. Let's see if I can make the camera go into focus. There we go. So you can see how I've top stitched it. I'll flip it over and show you the other side. Now she said the reason why you do this is because it makes it much easier when you're feeding your strapping through. And I think that's a pretty smart thing to do at this stage. Just makes it nice because it won't be so hard to get our strapping, which is right here, through it. The next thing that we have to do is we have to fold the right sides together, just like this, and we're going to stitch all the way down. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to put the strapping right sides together. We have to stitch all the way along the length of it. Once we do that, we're going to again press our seams open. I'll be back in just a minute. All right, I've made my tube. I'm getting a little bit messy here in front of you. I need to move things around. So I've made my tube and I pressed my seams open just as I was told to. Okay, all right, now that I've got that done, I'm going to take my Easy Point and Turner by Sue O'Very Designs, and I'm going to use that. Now what I want you to see is at the end of it, there's a tip that's open. Can you see that? And then there's a tip that's really closed right off. Maybe you can see that, maybe you can't. There, maybe you can see it now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread my tube right through this closed end tip. Just going to push all, I think it's like 100 inches on there. Okay. I'm just going to pull it all on there. Just takes a second. Part of it is I'm a little clumsy at times. Almost at the end. This one's going to be a little tight only because there's so much fabric here. You know, this is a big strap for our bag. But we're making a big bag, so that's part of it. So I'm just going to keep pushing my strap down so I can get it all the way on. I'm getting towards the end. There's my end. Just keep pushing it down. Almost there. You can see what I'm doing is every few minutes I'm just taking all of this and I'm pushing it again just to get a little bit tighter together, okay? Because my strap is so long. It's not normal to do a strap this long, honestly, guys. It's 100 inches, and look at it, still fit on there. So now I'm going to take my fabric and fold it over the point of it. Put those two pieces together, okay? Then I'm going to hold them like this. Now watch. Wait till you see this. This is so cool. I cannot believe how many years I've struggled with a pin or piece of fabric or anything like that. Look, it's just going right through there. I'm just taking it from one side of this tube turner to the other side, and look, that's all it's taking. Can you believe this? How many years have we struggled with getting pieces from one side to the other, and this is all it took? I am grabbing my seam that I made because I need to hold this really tight at the same time and kind of pushing that down. And you can see how it's just moving through. The biggest thing, I'll be honest with you, because this one is so large of a tube. It is much larger than the normal size you'll be turning, because this one's like 100 inches long, I think. So I'm going to keep turning it, just keep pulling it through. And what I'm using is my seam allowance here, just grabbing that. And again, I'm only grabbing the seam allowance because I've got so much fabric here. So I'm going to keep going at it. Now, right there is my end. So now I'm going to release this, and I'm just going to grab that end, and I'm just going to take it right off. There we go. Now I can get it off. Look, it's just going to come off, and then I'm going to be able to hold on to it, and look what happens. Now, again, the biggest issue here is the fact, look at that, there it is. Oh, isn't this exciting? My biggest issue is that I've got so much fabric here. It's not normal to do one that's 100 inches long. So that's what happened. But it worked, and I think it worked really easily considering that this is really the first time I've ever used it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I can't wait to try it on a smaller piece because I think it will really make a huge difference. So here is my strapping. I'm going to now take it over and press it. When I press it, this is my seam right here. She wants us to press it with the seam in the middle so that we're able to hide it later on. So I'm going to take this over to my ironing table and get this pressed. I've cut the strappings per the directions, and now I'm going to show you how this really helps to put the strapping in and keep it squared with the seam on the other side. So what I'm going to do is start out by just putting my tube turner in there, and what I'm doing is I'm rolling my seam so that it's underneath on the bottom side of my tube turner. Got to keep it going here straight because I want that on the bottom part. So now I'm going to take my strapping and I'm going to set it in here. Now, this is the hardest part about it, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I found that it's best to keep it as close to the edge as you can and then pinch it. Then what I do is I just kind of gently stick this end over my strapping. So you can see I've got it on that side. I'm going to turn it over this way and get it onto that side. All right, it's on. That's it. I'm going to take my strapping and kind of hold it over my tool, and I'm just going to grab it and feed it through. Look. And now look, it just is staying very nice and straight in there. My fabric's not rolling. It's doing its thing, and it's doing it very nicely for me. So I'm going to have a nice flat strap. Look at that. Pow, it's done. I'm going to now hold on to that, take this out, and then I can just easily pull this flat. And grab my end, and look, there I am. It's all ready for me, which I think that is very cool. That I really, really like. I would have normally fought with that for a few minutes to get that in. I'm going to lightly press it on this side so that any of these little wrinkles come out. Then I'm going to do my longer strap. I have 3 straps to do here, and then I'll be back to show you what we're going to do next. Right, I have all 3 of my straps prepared. Now I need to take this over to the sewing machine, and I need to top stitch this down. So I'm going to sew about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge all the way down and then all the way back. I'm going to do it to the 2 pieces, making certain that my seam is in the center, and then I'll be back to show you how we go about attaching our hardware. So first things first, I'm going to top stitch, and then I'll be back. All right, I have top stitched my strap. When I was editing this, I realized that my piece of film from attaching this hardware was corrupted. So I'm just going to explain to you exactly what I did. So once I got done top stitching it all the way down one side and then up the other, and I did top stitch it across the end, was I fed this piece of hardware through one end, folded it, and when I folded it so that my seam from my tube is on the inside, and then I just top stitched it down. There was one other thing that I had to do with this, and you can barely see it. In fact, I'm pretty certain you're not going to be able to see it. Was we had to draw a line right here, and I used my chalk marker to do it. This is a reference point for later on. So what I'm going to do is just take my Wonder Clip, attach my Wonder Clip right next to it, just so that it's easy for me to find down the road. So that is how you make these two straps, okay? I wanted to make sure that you understood that before we went any farther. So once you get done top stitching it, you're going to feed your piece of hardware through. Then you're just going to put the two wrong sides, which are the sides that have the seam on it, together and just top stitch them close so that you have formed this really neat little loop. Okay? And your directions will walk you through that very easily. I have stitched all the way around so my strapping's nice and secure. I got a thread there to clip. I'm going to clip that thread. I'm going to take my wide mouth slider and I'm going to bring it up and then back down so that I'm right over this metal piece. Then I'm going to take it and I'm going to fold these two pieces, and I do need to measure. I'm going to take a couple of Wonder Clips, which you can see I've got my Wonder Clips now, and I'm going to just quickly measure this, and the directions will give you the measurement that I'm looking for right now. We just need to fold this over a little bit so that we can do a top stitch of an X, so that we can make sure that our piece is nice and secure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew down, across, up, and over. Then I'm going to do what's called make an X in the center of that. And what that will do is secure this and make it really sturdy. And I do mean really sturdy. Alright, so I've got my two swivel hooks and I have my binder clips, which I still need those. So now I've taken my strap. You can see I have sewn it down. So according to the directions, what we're going to do is take our swivel hook and attach it to the raw end. Then we're going to take this end of the strap, this is the raw, we're going to put it up through this side. Here's the back side of it, okay? So you're going to take it up through B and then back down through A. Once you get it back down through A, I'm going to pull it a little ways farther down so it's out of my way. I'm going to take my other swivel hook, I'm going to insert it with my right side up, fold it over per the directions, and I'm going to do another X on this end. And then I'm going to show you what it's going to look like so that we know that we've got it right. What's going to happen is, let me make this smaller so that you can really see it. Okay. So what's going to happen is, see, we've got this nice doubled over piece. One side of the swivel hook is going to clip on there, and the other side will clip on here, and we now have an adjustable strap. So I'm going to go and sew this end, and then we are ready to move on to working with our end strap. So I'll be back in just a minute. All right, next step, we're going to work with our end strap now, and I want you to know that I have sprayed this with Mary Ellen's Best Press just to give it a little bit more body. So what we're going to do is start by folding it in half like this, and then we're going to press it. Let me quickly do that. All right, so we've got a nice crisp seam in the middle. Can you see it? Next, what we're going to do is fold our raw edges in. All right, and I'm just going to finger press it right here now so that I don't have to leave the camera again. And as all I'm doing is folding this into my crease and finger pressing it. I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side, folding it in and just finger pressing it. Okay. Then I'm going to fold it again and I'm going to take it over to my ironing board just like this, and I'm going to press it all at once, all layers. Then I have to take it over to my sewing machine and I do need to top stitch it. Once it's top stitched, I'll be back to show you our next step. So here is the rest of my end strap. I am going to take and place a little wonder clip and my little note on that so that I know exactly what piece this is. And then I'm going to take another wonder clip. I am going to grab a large wonder clip and I'm going to just nicely fold all of these pieces together. And I'm going to put that wonder clip on there so that I know exactly what I have for my pieces. So all of our straps are done now. We've got our straps finished. The next step of what we need to start working on is we're going to start preparing, let me show you, these inside pieces. So what we're going to start working with next are these inside pocket pieces, okay? So that we can start getting this all put together. So that's where we're at. So we're gonna stop here and I'll be back next time with the second section, which is preparing pockets A and B of your quilted fabric, and we're going to prepare pockets C and D, which are our mesh fabric. So then we'll start working with our mesh and we're going to prepare our ends. So this is what we're working on next time. We're going to work on pocket A and B, our ends A and B, and our pocket mesh. So I can't wait to get going on the next section of this. I think this is going to be a really nice and handy, cool bag. So I'll be back next time to show you that stuff. If you would like to make this along with me, go on out to my website. I do have fabric available and I do have the notions kits available. So pop on out there and you'll be able to make one for yourself. Thank you so much for sticking around all the way to the end. I cannot wait to get this bag done and be able to show it to you all completed. But I will be back next time and we'll just keep going on this. So we'll see you then. Thanks. Bye.